losing my mind watching this team play basketball. If you can remember Tommy Heinsohn just yelling, run, run. He just does his hands in the air. Oh my God, I got fouled. I got fouled. Where's the call? Where? We know that Marcus Smart is trash. He's awful. Brown and Tatum need to pass more, coming from the guy who's the worst shooter in NBA history. I'll take Ben Simmons at this point. One of the reasons why he's much better this year is because this team stinks. All right, Celtics rant incoming. So the Celtics are 2-5 to start the year. And if you've watched any of these games, this team is just absolute garbage. They are on fire. They are horrible. I would say they're even worse than their record. And I'm going to try to explain why I think that is a little bit. Most of this just comes from rage and depression. I'm not going to throw a lot of numbers at you, but yeah, the Celtics stink. And I think a big part of why is Jayson Tatum. And I know this is going to sound crazy because Jayson Tatum is our best player. He's the only guy on our team that really has that feeling of like this guy could be a potential top 5 player in the NBA eventually. But I got to tell you, I just absolutely hate watching Jayson Tatum play basketball. I hate it. I hate everything about how he plays basketball. And I'm going to explain why this is such a big problem for the Celtics. Just my opinion, totally opinion. Just me losing my mind watching this team play basketball. So when you watch Jayson Tatum play basketball, what you see is a guy who never hustles up the court. Every time he brings the ball up the court, it's in slow motion. If you can remember Tommy Heinsohn just yelling, run, run, and like losing his mind, Tommy Heinsohn would, if he wasn't dead already, would die watching this team, watching this slow ass team walking up the court every time. Just no hustle, no desire for transition baskets. Jayson Tatum just wants to walk the ball up the court, take a slow ass time, so then he can do like a 10-second dribble move into a step back 3. Like the style of basketball that he plays is disgusting. It's disgusting to watch. It's ISO heavy, but if you look at the statistics, he's one of the worst ISO players in the league. But that's what he likes. He likes to ISO. And the reason why he likes to ISO is because even though it's the worst thing that he does, it really is the only thing that he can do. He can't finish at the rim. He just can't. He doesn't know how to draw fouls. He doesn't know how to finish around the basket. So when he does all these step back, fade away, really difficult shots, and we get so frustrated as fans, we have to understand that like that's the only thing that he's really good at, even though he's not very good at it. And I know this sounds crazy because Tatum's going to probably average 27 points per game this year, and he did last year. But you got to understand, the guy's taking 20-plus shots every single game. You know, he gets all the shots. So, and he is a good shooter. So he's going to score a lot of points. But it's demoralizing watching it. And I think it's demoralizing being on the team with him also and watching him play that way. There's been a couple examples already this year of like games coming down to the wire and Tatum just being garbage, but just getting the last shot, like them setting up these ISO plays for Tatum, even though he's been trash all game, and Brown just like standing in the corner. And Brown is not exempt from this criticism. I'll get into him as well. But like right now I'm roasting Tatum. And it's insane to me that like we just think every time when the game comes down to the wire, oh, let's ISO Tatum. Like why does anybody think that's a good idea? It's never a good idea. The other thing about Tatum is he's just a soft bitch, man. Like all he does is bitch and moan at the refs all the time. It's been a problem since he came into the league. It gets worse and worse every year. And our poor coach, who's like, we're not going to complain to the refs, has just gotten totally dunked on in every single game by Tatum, who just refuses ever to hustle back on defense He just does his hands in the air. Oh my God, I got fouled. I got fouled. Where's the call? Where? And now because Tatum's doing it, the whole team's doing it. You see Al Horford complaining about calls, which you never used to see. And this is what I'm getting to. I know I've made a mess trying to get to my point. But my point is that teams take on the persona of their best player. And this is why I think Tatum needs to go. We need to trade his ass. And I know that that's a terrible idea, but this team is garbage, man. And like, what's going to happen is Udoka's going to do the same crap that Brad Stevens did last year. He's going to try to make moves. He's going to try to play all these veterans. He's going to just completely destroy the confidence and any hope of having a future for our rookies, for our young players. Just forget about it. Neesmith getting 1 minute, getting healthy DNPs. Pritchard just absolutely getting lost in the sauce. We can play Josh Richardson. We're going to do this so that we can get as many wins as we can so that we can be a play-in team. That's what this team is doing. They're trying so hard. They're sacrificing possible. Now look, Pritchard might be trash. Neesmith might be trash. Okay, maybe that's the future, but you don't know that yet. You know that Richardson is trash. That is confirmed. We know that Marcus Smart is trash. He's awful. He's gotten worse this year. This is the worst I've seen Marcus Smart since probably he was a rookie. He's terrible. He was supposed to be our point guard. He can't be our point guard. He doesn't know how to pass anymore all of a sudden. He thinks he's a shooting guard, which is ironic because he's the worst shooter in NBA history. He just came out and roasted Brown and Tatum saying they need to pass more. That's so rich. Brown and Tatum need to pass more. Coming from the guy who's the worst shooter in NBA history. Coming from the guy who was supposed to be our point guard. You're supposed to be the one passing the ball, Marcus. You were supposed to pass the ball to Brown and Tatum, but you don't know how to do anything. That's why you're standing in the corner. Where was I? Tatum. Teams take on the persona of their best player. And Tatum is a lazy basketball player. He's a selfish basketball player. He doesn't particularly care about winning. He loses games and he's over there chatting with Bradley Beal. Hey, oh yeah, we're best friends. Can't wait to play together someday. He doesn't care about winning and losing, not like the greats do. He might care a little bit, but it's not that important to him. He just goes out there and he tries a little bit, gets his shots, and if they lose, yeah, whatever, no big deal. He's a quiet dude. He's a quiet dude that just kind of keeps to himself. He's probably the kind of dude, like before a game, he probably just has his headset in. He's probably just listening to music, not engaging with anybody around him, and then he just goes out there and does his thing. Look, I know I'm hating on Tatum a lot right now, and I don't think that Tatum is a bad guy. He's obviously a good guy. He's chilling with his son. He's being a good dad. He's just the way that Tatum is built. He thinks he's Kobe. He wants to be Kobe. He plays like he's Kobe, except he doesn't have the fire. He doesn't have the heart. He doesn't have the toughness. He doesn't have the grit. And he's not an asshole like Kobe. And that's what made Kobe Kobe, not him hogging the ball, taking all the shots, which is like the only thing that Tatum has gotten from Kobe. So he's not Kobe. He's like a soft, worse version of Carmelo Anthony. That's what we're getting out of Tatum this year. And it's destroying this team because this team is already not very good. And what I'm saying is that teams take on the persona of their best player. And because Tatum doesn't hustle back on D, because Tatum complains to the refs all the time, because Tatum's happy to just do ISO ball, because Tatum doesn't really care whether he wins or loses, that's how everyone, that trickles down to everybody else in the team. It poisons the well. Like, look at the Bucks last year. Best player, Giannis. That team genuinely liked each other because Giannis genuinely likes his teammates, because Giannis is a genuine person. That team played hard because Giannis plays hard. That team was good defensively because Giannis cares about defense. Look at the Golden State Warriors when Steph Curry was their best player. Not Durant, Steph Curry. Steph Curry was like the most selfless superstar ever. And look at the way that team played basketball. They played the most beautiful, selfless style of basketball because their best player endorsed it. And this goes on and on and on. You can make a million examples of this. Look, if you want to look at a Celtics example, look what happened to the Celtics when Kevin Garnett came over. Before Kevin Garnett came over, we were a mess. But because Kevin Garnett immediately walked into the room and was our best player and had that insane intensity and commitment to defense, and like, if we lose this game, we die. It literally changed the entire culture of our team overnight. And what I am saying is that if Jayson Tatum is the best player on this basketball team, they are never going to be good. They're never going to be good because he doesn't have the makeup, the personality to lead a basketball team. He just doesn't. So, in my opinion, I say blow it up. I say blow it up because not only are the Celtics bad, they're borderline unwatchable. They just play disgusting basketball. And this is not me hating basketball. I've been watching a lot of other teams and enjoying them. The Charlotte Hornets are a lot of fun to watch. The Knicks play with a lot of energy. Even the Cleveland Cavaliers look good with Mobley. I mean, there's so much good basketball being played in the league, and none of it is being played in Boston unless you're watching the visiting team. And I say blow it up. Ship Tatum to Portland for Damian Lillard. I'll take Ben Simmons at this point. At least he plays defense. Just get rid of him and make Brown the guy. And before we start roasting Brown, because Brown often disappears and has terrible games and like just doesn't exert himself in the final moments of games and isn't the two-way player that he was supposed to be, before we completely roast Brown, I just think that Brown at least has the possibility of being the kind of guy that wouldn't destroy the team from within. That's it. Like, I at this point, I know Tatum doesn't have that personality. I know that he's never going to be that kind of person. I'm not talking about his skills. I'm not talking about his stats. I'm talking about what kind of person Jayson Tatum is on the basketball court. He's never going to be that guy. Whereas Brown, I'm still unsure. And that's why I say trade Tatum, keep Brown. Because at least with Brown, there's a small chance, a small possibility. You look at the stuff that Brown does off the court, how much of like a vocal leader he is in like social justice and all this stuff. Like, I haven't really seen him do that on the basketball court. But then again, he's never been asked to. He's never been asked to be the guy. So I say give him a chance. And then if he can't do it either, then blow it up again. But get Tatum, just get Tatum out of here. Get Marcus Smart out of here. He stinks. And all these other scrubs on the basketball team. I mean, there's a reason why Horford is our best player or second best player. And it's not because Horford is an incredible player. It's because this team is bad. And Horford has been good this year. I don't mean to roast Horford. Horford has been great this year. But like, if Horford is your second best player or third best player, it's because your team is bad, man. If Grant Williams is getting starting minutes, Grant Williams has been much better this year. But the reason, one of the reasons why he's much better this year is because this team stinks. So yeah, that's it. The team stinks. They don't play defense. They're one of the worst defenses in the league. Udoka had this switch everything that sounded cute. It's been an absolute disaster. We just leave people wide open for threes all the time. The switch everything does not work at all. Now, should we give him more time? I mean, sure, fine. But let's not put all the blame on Udoka's feet or his shoulders or whatever body part you want. Because Brad Stevens was going through the same crap last year. Brad Stevens literally looked like he went through a world war last year trying to coach these scrubs and like was desperate to get out of that job. And now Udoka's going through the same thing. You know, this team is not good. They're just not. I don't know how I even tricked myself into thinking they would be. My optimistic prediction was that they would be the 5th seed and they would be slightly over 500. And that's honestly looking like I was drinking the Kool-Aid now. And I thought I was being like conservative. But at this point, the Celtics are going to be, I know it's a long season, but this looks like a play-in team. Best case scenario. It really does. And that's like the absolute worst place to be in the NBA, is to be mediocre. Like, you just want to be great or you want to be terrible. And right now the Celtics are terrible. And I'm honestly hoping that they just go. I did this last year. I said last year they should have tanked. You know, last year's draft was so full of talent, and this team needs more talent. They don't need Dennis Schroeder. They don't need Josh Richardson. They need more talent. They need to get lucky. They need to hit a home run. They need a Giannis-sized home run. And yeah, I mean, the chances are we're just going to draft a bunch more Neesmiths and Romeos and be screwed forever. But you got to take that chance, man, because what we're doing now is a disaster. This team is a disaster. And like I said, they're my only real hope. I didn't think this team was going to be very good this year, but I thought they were going to be more fun to watch. I had tricked myself into saying I think they're going to play more interesting basketball, more watchable basketball. They're going to try. They're going to put and the effort has been better this year, but the results haven't been any better. The effort has been better than like the worst effort I've ever seen last year. Hasn't been great, but the results are still not there. And at this point, this is not a fixable team. I'm sorry. These guys clearly don't like each other. They don't play for each other. I'm utterly unconvinced that Brown and Tatum can coexist unless there was another guy that was actually the alpha and they were number 2 and 3, which is never going to happen. So I think you just, at this point, you need to blow it up. I don't think it's going to work. And that's my 2 cents. You know, I'm angry. I'm depressed. I hate the fact that I pay for an NBA membership so that I can watch other teams play basketball because I can't stand watching my own team play. It's so depressing watching them play. And am I over emotional? Am I melodramatic? Absolutely. Does it sound like I'm not a Celtics fan? Probably, but I am. That's where all this anguish comes from, is the fact that I am a fan and I just hate watching this team. And I'm not the kind of like crybaby that's like, oh, championship or bust, championship or bust. That's not it, because there were teams that Brad Stevens had that just played hard, played fun basketball that I liked watching that weren't that great. When Isaiah Thomas was on the team, I loved that team. That team was fun. Back when we had like Avery Bradley, just like, and Jay Crowder, like just hustling and just playing hard. Like those teams were fun to watch and they weren't that good. This team is not that good and they're not fun to watch or to cheer for. And I swear it all comes from Tatum's personality and attitude, just bleh, all over this team. And yeah, it's not all his fault, but he is the best player on this team, which means that he gets the blame. That's how I feel. So get rid of him. Trade him. That's it. That's all I got. I don't know. What do you think? Am I crazy? Tell me I'm crazy in the comments. I'm sure most people think I've lost my damn mind. But that's how I feel after watching 7 games of absolute garbage so far this year. Let me know your thoughts below. And hopefully I'm still alive to do another one of these in a couple of weeks.